Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Calls for residential property owners to be wary of renting to criminals. Transport Minister says 50 new buses have been ordered for the state-owned bus company JUTC. In sports, 20,000 fans to be accommodated for Champs 2022. I'm Krista Campbell and here are the details. The St. Ann police are urging property owners to be cautious about renting residential properties to criminals. This comes following the shooting death of a wanted man at a house in Discovery Bay, St. Ann yesterday. Sandy Williams has that report.
Last October, Ainsley Woodburn, also known as Shortman, escaped from the Freeport police lockup in St. James after he was charged with 6 murders. Since then, Mr. Woodburn has been eluding law enforcers. He was listed as one of Jamaica's most wanted. However, on Sunday night, his free reign came to an end when the police, acting on intelligence, found him at a house in Discovery Bay, St. Ann. Head of Area 2 Police Assistant Commissioner Calvin Allen says upon approaching the property, Mr. Woodburn fired at the police. The lawman then returned fire and Mr. Woodburn was shot.
He was injured. He was rushed to the hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. A 9mm Glock pistol and a magazine containing 7 rounds was recovered.
It's understood that Mr. Woodburn had rented the property, which he was staying at for some time now. ACP Allen says this is a trend that has become a concern for the police. It's why he's urging property owners to be more cautious when renting their properties.
It is not sufficient just for the person to meet the financial cost of your rent. We want for persons to be far more diligent, be far more careful in terms of who you finally rent your property to, because it is becoming a situation where persons are using some of these safe havens to carry out their criminal activities. Persons are renting vehicles and these vehicles end up being involved in criminal activities.
In the meantime, this message to criminals seeking to hide out in the parish.
Area 2 is definitely no safe haven for any criminals. You would have seen several operational activities that we would have conducted, not only in hotspot areas, but also in some of those gated communities where some of these guys tend to want to go and hide. So it's definitely not a safe space in Area 2. We will continue our committed policing activities in our communities on the road as we seek to make this space safer for every citizen.
Sandy Williams, TVJ.
The governing Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, is wasting little time to try and re-energize its supporters through face-to-face political meetings. Members of the party gathered for an Area Council 3 meeting in Clarendon on Sunday, where several matters concerning the JLP and the country were discussed. More in this report from Dwayne Anderson.
Leave no stone unturned. I'm very serious about that. Take nothing for granted.
Party stalwart Audley Shaw issuing a charge to JLP supporters and workers. He wants them to redouble their efforts to take the party's message to Jamaicans, especially now that the DRMA measures have been lifted and they can meet freely with more people.
When you come to politics, everything is local. Okay? So make we get back to face-to-face contacts, face-to-face organization, face-to-face communication. Very important.
Mr. Shaw was speaking to supporters at a JLP Area Council 3 meeting on Sunday. It was the first face-to-face gathering of this kind in 2 years due to the pandemic. The parliamentarian also spoke about some matters he intends to address as Minister of Transport.
When we left government in 2011, we handed over JUTC with over 400 buses in the system. Now, we have just over 200 buses in the system.
But he assured the commuting public that improvements are coming for the JUTC.
I have to thank the Cabinet and the Prime Minister that 2 weeks ago approved the purchase of 50 new buses this year for the JUTC. And then we are going to target another 100 buses. But what we're going to do is move with technology. All of it can't be diesel buses anymore. We're looking at electric buses and compressed natural gas buses.
The Transport Minister explained that fuel theft at the state-owned bus company is still an issue and that he will work with the management to try and eliminate the illegal practice. Dwayne Anderson, TVJ News.
Despite concerns from a number of sectors about the National Identification System NIDS, Minister with responsibility for the implementation of the program, Floyd Green, says several regulations are being revised to improve data protection. In 2019, a panel of judges led by Chief Justice Brian Sykes said there was inadequate protection under the NIDS Act in relation to the storage and safety of information while in the possession of the state, and is therefore a violation of the right to privacy. However, Mr. Green says under the revised NIDS Act, those concerns have been addressed.
You will see very shortly that we will bring regulations to Parliament that will further strengthen provisions regarding the use of the data. So those regulations specifically will speak to third-party access, how you can access the data, under what circumstances, what are the forms, what sort of authorization do you need to get from the data holder and the person who has provided the data. So those regulations I expect to come to the House within another 3 months, and those will supplement what we already have in the Act. So I think all the challenges that people had and concerns in relation to data protection and use should be dissipated after the regulations.
Mr. Green says with this new system, the government could be saving millions, if not billions of dollars on an annual basis, as only one card will be needed to conduct business.
That we've brought in a consultant, and that consultant will look at all the high-value use cases. That consultant will put a monetary figure to it, because you may need to also input some resources to ensure that you have the software that you need for that, and then will tell us in a very real way what are the greatest savings from what processes.
He was speaking at a NIDS forum at the Sam Sharp Teachers College in St. James last week. Crab vendors around Heroes Circle will soon see an upgrade to improve their business. Codian Barrett reports.
Passers-by and crab lovers raised concerns Sunday morning when they observed the stalls being destroyed at the well-known crab spot in the Heroes Circle area in Kingston. But their fear was quickly put to rest when the mayor of Kingston, Delaware Williams, explained that the demolition is only to make way for renovations.
What we're doing is putting up a far better facility, far more appropriate for them. And we believe that the facility that we're putting up will enhance business for them. And secondly, they will be operating during the construction phase. They will still be doing business in the vicinity. They will just be shifting to accommodate the construction work.
Vendors said the improvements are needed.
Well, it's a wonderful choice, and we do appreciate what's going on, and give thanks to all who support us during the years. We do give thanks for that.
Limitations for our customers, better for them for when they come, if they can use the bathrooms and stuff. So we're going to get fully real in the world now, because the world is coming out and we want to show that we are getting better as well.
Mayor Williams explained that a memorandum of understanding was signed with Ray and nephew to carry out rehabilitation works.
Now we are doing the demolition for construction to begin this week. We have been in dialogue with the crab vendors for some time now, over a year, and earlier this week the Honourable Minister Desmond Mackenzie, who is also the Member of Parliament for West Kingston, he met with them and outlined the steps that will be taken to do the construction.
The new facility is expected to facilitate a maximum of 10 vendors. Work is expected to be completed within 2 weeks, and according to Mr. Williams, the food spot by Harborview Roundabout is next on the list for renovations. Cody-Ann Barrett, TVJ.
And it's time for a break, but stay with us. More stories when the Midday News returns. Welcome back to the Midday News. Come next month, the government will roll out a $13 billion urban road improvement project in sections of Kingston, St. Andrew and St. Catherine. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement in Parliament recently. Details from Andrea Chisholm.
Under the Special Capital Expenditure Program, 6 high-traffic corridors will be improved. First up, the widening of Arthur Winter Drive in St. Andrew. That project is set to begin in April 2022 and will last for 16 months. Brayton Road and a part of the Helsher Main Road, as well as the north side of the Sandy Gully Bridge on Washington Boulevard in St. Andrew, are also scheduled to be widened. Starting in April, over a 9-month period, a section of Grange Lane on the I-95 in St. Catherine will be converted into a dual carriageway. A dual carriageway is also on the cards for East Kings House Road and Lady Musgrave Road in St. Andrew starting in May for 24 months.
The final high traffic area is the new Portmore access. That is the Mandela entry into Portmore. The creation of a bridge over the Rio Corbin. That will begin August 2023, that is next year. But the planning, the designs, all of that is almost complete.
Meanwhile, a $274.5 million contract has been signed with China Harbour Engineering Company for the Montego Bay Perimeter Road.
The contractor has been mobilized and works on the widening and improving of some local roads in Montego Bay are slated to begin in the coming financial year. Some start already. So fast you're moving. This will be transformational for Montego Bay.
And on the eastern end of the island, the Port Antonio bypass will be constructed.
The project will see the construction of 17 kilometers of 4 lanes of arterial road around Port Antonio and 2 standard shoulders.
In the meantime, the government is moving to update the Town and Country Planning Act to better organize developments.
Greater consultation should be embedded in the Act. The people who live in areas, their concerns ought to be taken in upfront in determining developments.
By mid-year, the development order for Kingston and St. Andrew should be finalized. The Prime Minister says such orders should be clear and reasonable to avoid confusion. The number of building officers will also increase and technology used to improve monitoring, inspection and enforcement. Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
Time now for the Business Minute with Cody-Ann Barrett.
Stewart's Automotive Group is adding a Chinese electric vehicle called BYD to its lineup, which it will distribute on behalf of Flash Motors. Stewart's Automotive Director, Jacqueline Stewart-Leckler, informed that Flash Motors, which has a new regional startup partially owned by Wigton Wind Farms Limited, and Stewart's are 2 different entities. She says Flash will import the BYD vehicles and deal with the financing. Their Jamaican dealership, which already sells a Jaguar EV, is still in the process of setting up the BYD dealership at its main complex at South Camp Road in Kingston, which is expected to be ready in a few months. News in oil. Oil prices jumped to $2 today as Ukrainian forces dug in against heavy Russian attacks, while major oil producers reported they are struggling to produce their allotted quotas under a supply agreement. Brent crude futures climbed $1.96 to $109.89 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose $2.09 to $106.79. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody-Ann Barrett.
And Sandy Williams has the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Haiti has been ranked among the least happy countries, according to the World Happiness Report 2022, released by the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network. Haiti is the only CARICOM country featured in the report that assessed 146 countries in 2021. Haiti is ranked in the top 10 least happy countries with a score of 3.7 and is placed at 140th from the 146 countries. According to the World Happiness Report, Finland ranked the happiest nation globally for the 5th consecutive year. On the international scene, rescue efforts relating to the China Eastern plane crash may be hampered due to bad weather and limited accessibility to the site. According to Chinese state media, heavy rescue equipment cannot access the crash site, which lacks electricity, as it is surrounded by mountains on 3 sides and accessible only through a narrow path. Separately, Guangxi Meteorologist Bureau reported that authorities should take note of adverse impacts on rescue efforts due to an incoming cold front that would see heavy rainfall and a temperature drop in the area. A Boeing 737 carrying 132 people crashed over the city of Wuzhou in southwestern China's Guangxi province on Monday. No details on the number of casualties involved have been released. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
And we head to another break now, but when we return, we'll have your Midday Sports report. Simon Preston is standing by.
Welcome back. It's now time for Midday Sports. I'm Simon Preston. ISA President Keith Wellington has confirmed that 20,000 spectators will be accommodated for the 2022 edition of Champs in April. Wellington gave this update during the launch of Champs at the National Stadium earlier today. Wellington gave an update on the ticket prices for the championship.
Single tickets for the grandstand will cost $1,000 on Tuesday, $2,500 on Wednesday and Thursday, $4,500 on Friday, and as I said before, $7,500 on Saturday. Premium season tickets, which includes the finish line, will cost $23,000, while regular season tickets will go for $20,000.
Champs is slated to run from April 5 to 9. Portmore United will be looking to move into the top 6 of the Jamaica Premier League as they face Malines United at Sabina Park this afternoon. Portmore United are 7th on 11 points, while Malines are at the foot of the table on 4 points. Kick-off is at 3:30. At 1 o'clock, Dunby Holden will face Humble Lion. And that is it for your Midday Sports Report. I'm Simon Preston. Krista, it's over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Simon. And that's how we wrap things up here on the Midday News. I'm Krista Campbell. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.